Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to R² Technology. I am your host Ryan, and let's get ready to SOLIDWORKS! Welcome back to another Monday challenge video where we are continuing the series of me creating a motorcycle truck bed / trailer, which will have several parts to it to come together in one final assembly. In today's video, I'm going to create a new part, but first we're going to revisit a previously made part and make some adjustments for a left side bracket, as you'll see. And then we will go into the new part, which is a simple square tube, so to speak, with profile, which will be the housing for the axle. So with that, let's jump in. Okay, so in our previous video we had made the bracket which you see before us here. And of course there will be a link in the description below where you can watch that previous video. So what we're going to do here is modify this top flange that faces to the right and switch it to the left, so this then becomes a left side mounting bracket. Now what will happen is we're going to modify this base sketch here, which we'll go into Control-8 to bring it normal to. What's going to happen is, as soon as I create the sketch going the opposite direction and change the extrusion regions, all these other features are going to have subsequent failures because their association is going to be gone. It's like, oh, I don't know where this is anymore. You removed what I associated the features with. So you will go through and make those corrections. To start, let's do some lines. We're actually going to do a line going up this way, like such. And then we're going to do a line going out as such, down. We'll go a little bit past. And we'll select like that. So now what we're going to do here is make sure that this line and this line are equal. And they're overlapping, which is not ideal, but for what we're going to do in this simple tweak, we're going to kind of run with it. This will show kind of some of the confusion or disruption that can happen when you have a part that has some features that may be a little less predictable, if you will. Then I'm going to take this vertical line here and this vertical line that is driven by this dimension here, make them equal. And we are all set. Now what I'm going to do here is simply exit out of that sketch. And it says, hey, cannot rebuild this. What's happening here? You've changed the original region of this sketch and what's being extruded. So I'm going to exit the sketch anyways, and I'm going to continue to ignore. Look at this over here, my feature tree. All the features at this point, they're all have an issue of association of some sort. So the first thing I'll do here is I'm going to click on my boss extrude. I'm going to edit that, my base, and I need to reselect the region. Then here in this next one, this cut extrude, right, this is over here on the right side. So I'm going to actually expand the absorb sketches of any of my features I can, and I'm going to go in and edit them. And then you'll notice what I have going on here is this dimension. We have disassociation of dimensions and this construction line. So what I'm going to do to fix this is I'm going to take this. We're actually going to go spacebar, bring this sketch normal to you so we have a better view. So a couple things we'll do here. Delete this sketch. Sorry, that dimension. I'm going to make this endpoint midpoint. And then I'm going to make this one just coincident to this edge here. That's going to reassociate this here. And then I'm going to re-add this 1-inch dimension here. You can use the regenerate, accept that. And now notice everything is back to blue again. What I'm looking for is what I would consider like a very bizarre kind of like camo tan type relation. to show that it's, you know, been disassociated. So you can select that, exit that sketch. I'm going to continue to stop, continue to ignore. And now the cut extrude itself from that's like, okay, well, the regions kind of in a sense got eliminated. So we need to reselect those. And because this is an up to surface, I need to reselect the surface of which it's cutting through. So again, we're doing a large reassociation of things. Some things you're going to see have already kind of in a sense reappeared in the sketch. So on to the next. This cut extrude here, there's a dimension that was kind of got disassociated. So sometimes the disassociation may be in the core sketch itself or in the feature itself, perhaps a face. So you're going to want to check both situations, because you may have a feature that actually looks like it's working properly, but it still has an issue because the sketch technically doesn't have a plane that is associated with anymore. So in this one, in this sketch here, I'm going to go in and edit that. And I'll bring this sketch normal too. And let's have a look at what we got going in here. Zoom it a bit. Again, zooming it in only helps to a degree because these icons seem to stay relatively small even when you zoom in. But we got a couple things going on here, right? So this dimension here, we're going to delete that. But again, you can see these kind of puke greenish tan relations here. We're going to delete them. So I right click to do that. The other way of doing it is to click on it and just simply hit delete on the keyboard. And then what we're going to do, press and hold the control key. I'm going to grab this edge and that point, and I'm going to make it coincident, not midpoint, because as you saw, there is a dimension that defines this height. And on this one, coincident to that edge. Looking good. Then we're going to give this the dimension again from this top here. Looks good. Everything is fully defined. I don't have any relations that are puke green tan. Fully defined sketch here. Good to go. We can exit that. I'm going to continue to ignore. Then I'm going to just over here, I'm reducing the size of the feature tree after I've fixed things so it's not a long list of confusion here. This chamfer here, we're going to edit this. Missing edges. So this doesn't have a foundational sketch to it like the previous ones. It works off of other solid portions of the model. So we just need to find the edges we had intended to chamfer and reselect them. Then this fillet here, same thing. It's just a bunch of edges that we have to reselect. So I'm selecting those that are yellow highlighted and deleting them. Bring it back like such. And now we have our left side flange. I wanted to specifically show in that manner how I fix it, because I wanted to be able to show how you fix other features if you lose disassociation, to kind of give you an idea of how you go in and repair things. Because sometimes you're just going to run across something where you change something and it has an unpredictable behavior or has an unpredictable error, and it's knowing how to go back and say, okay, well, what was associated where, and where do I need to reassociate it to fix it? So that's what the reason I did that approach there. So that's going to complete this left side bracket, and now we're going to start into a new part, and this one will actually complete too, because this is going to be simple, is the axle housing. Now to build the axle housing, I actually want to take a quick moment here, and from this part, I actually want to go File, and I want to do Make a Drawing from Part. Now I already made a drawing, but I'm going to choose No, and I'm actually going to make a smaller sheet size for this because this is a smaller part. We'll do ANSI landscape for that. Click OK. Now one thing is, and I'll just drag out one view for now. And then I'm going to go over here and click OK. I'm going to go quickly up to my options here, go to Document Properties, the Units, and make sure I'm in inch pounds second. Click OK. I'm not going to modify anything in the title box. This is what we call a quick and dirty, just to grab a dimension that we could, we could save this as an image or PDF, print it out so we could have this reference while we're working on the model. Or, of course, if you have a dual screen, then you just take this drawing, throw it on your other monitor, and then have the actual part up to be able to reference that dimensions. But what I'm after here is I made a specific profile, and so I don't have to constantly remember what I created. I can add dimensions here. I will also, in a future video on Friday, I'm going to be covering dimensioning parts in much more detail. So here I'm not really going to get into the nitty and gritty of explaining everything, but more or less just show you that I'm extracting dimensions from a specific cutout here so I can understand what kind of profile I'm going to create for this axle housing. So I also noticed one thing, so this is 2.5 and I want my axle housing to be at 2.5. So we're going to actually go back here into the model real quick, and we're going to go to this cut extrude feature. We're going to go back to the sketch, Control 8 to bring it normal to, and I'm going to give it a 30-second clearance. I want this to be unrealistically tight tolerance. It'd probably be more like a 16th, and then you'd end up welding it. Not exactly sure on that, but either which case, this is the clearance I'm going to go with. So it's going to be 2.53125 in all directions, and then we can, so I didn't even go in and edit the sketch, and it made that update. And then as we're aware, we have these fillets here. I'm going to leave them the same. Now I want you to notice something here. My drawing is going to update to that. I'll even give it all, so we can see here this updated from 2.5 to 2.3125. So we can save this, but since I already have a D sheet drawing of this, I'm not going to save and have duplicate drawings. So close and do not save. But I just wanted to show you just a little bit of a teaser on being able to literally dimension a part and make your orthographic projections, make your drawing. So we can save this part and close out. And now I've already pre-saved the axle housing here. And from here, we're going to choose the front plane for this one. Normal to. We'll choose a sketch. Going to do center rectangle here and drag out. For this one, I'm going to make these sides equal, because this is more of a square than a rectangle situation. We'll make this 2.5. Then we will actually, let's add the fillets in ahead of time. And with this, let's also consider this. This needs to be hollow, so we'll do this, and it's okay that these corners are coincident to this. We want equal thickness, wall thickness all the way around. We'll give it a wall thickness of 0.25, quarter inch, pretty heavy duty. We might modify it later, depending. And then what I'm going to do is, in previous videos, I've actually done the fillet as a feature outside of the main boss extrude, but this time we can incorporate them into the sketch, and we can do so with the sketch fillet here. We're going to do 0.03125, and I'm only going to apply this to the outside for now. I kind of want this sharp inside of the extruded channel here. So I'm just going to add it to these external corners here. This error may come up sometimes, which is it may disassociate because we've created dimensions at these corners here, and by technically creating a radius, those endpoints are technically removed. But I'm going to proceed at this point, and it's going to prompt at each corner. I still want that, and then we'll click OK. So it's 0.03125. So I already have the radius made. So now I'm going to come over to my Features tab, choose Boss Extrude. I'm going to choose Midplane. And then what I'm actually going to do is real quickly come over here, open Recent. Can't do that while we're in here. I'm going to reference my framework. Which you can see I've started some reference drawings here, 38 inches. So for now, we'll just make it a 38-inch extrusion. I'm not going to save anything I did there. So Boss Extrude, Midplane, 38 inches. And we can see now that it has the radius already built in. I'm leaving this internal part of the channel to be pretty much a right angle square because of what's going to be placed inside of it for the actual axle. So with that, we've completed the basics of the axle housing for now. So we'll save that. And that is going to conclude this kind of two-part, well, almost three-part video. We did a couple of different things all in one. So stay tuned next Monday where I'm going to pick up on this sub-assembly of the torsion axle trailer, where we will create the torsion rods themselves and start on the axle that actually goes through this, along with the plates that are going to eventually connect to the wheel hubs. Thank you for watching. Hope you got something out of this video, and I will see you next time.